Welcome to Mind Your Moments, where we invite you to bloom forward with us as we dive into professional wellness, personal growth, and honest conversations around mental health. She's Anna.
And she's Crystal. And together we have over 3 decades of serving the behavioral health space. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Mind Your Moments.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Crystal.
I am so happy to be here with you too. It feels like it's been a challenge to get to this place today.
I agree. And I laughed to myself because on some level, the things that I most want to do seem to be some of the most challenging to get to. And I'm kind of just having that realization. The things that my heart desires are some of the most challenging. And maybe that's because there are so many other really important things. You mentioned some a little while ago,
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I think it's sometimes those things that we desire, that we want to be able to do to implement a better, well-rounded life, better overall mental health and wellness. But for whatever reason, it's just that prioritizing them, it becomes easier and easier to push that few minutes with a friend, or that 5 minutes in the sun decompressing, or that 5 minutes to do a brain dump, which we've talked about, whatever that looks like, reading a book, I don't know, but it becomes easier and easier to push that off as we get inundated with life's daily tasks.
Yes, because reading a book for pleasure, or even for, for pleasure, it doesn't count toward any kind of key performance indicator. You know what I mean? It doesn't count toward any productivity report.
All the KPIs and all the what's the other one? The
ROIs. Those moments in the sun, you can't put them on a productivity report.
Mm-mm.
However, without them, my productivity level is decreased. So I think we should be able to put those into our own productivity report. Maybe, I don't think we get enough credit for when we take care of ourselves.
And that's so interesting, working in behavioral health. Like, we are people that are encouraging others to do these things. And that could look very different, depending on where you're at as a helper, as a, person in the field, but we're encouraging them to take care of themselves, to write in a journal, to attend therapy, whatever that looks like. But yet we tend to also put those things on the back burner for ourselves. And I find it kind of fascinating. That we're speaking, where it's like we're talking the talk, but are we walking the walk and doing the things that we need to do for our own mental wellness?
I'm in silence now because I'm reflecting on that question. And I think that we've come to a point, you and I, where we both do, I'm not going to say a great deal, but we are focused on some level on our professional wellness, our mental wellness. We just talked recently about being focused on our physical wellness, which more is coming. More will be revealed in that aspect.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, definitely. So we are, and it's funny because I feel like there's room for so much more of that self-care, of that, you know, and I mean the self-care that kind of is throughout the day. What am I doing right now to take care of myself in this moment? How am I acknowledging myself in this moment so that I don't have to block out 2 hours? Oh, in this 2 hours, I'm going to, take care of myself. It's an ongoing, in my life, I want it to be an ongoing practice throughout every day. How am I taking care of myself? That seems like so far fetched,
But
but
I think
that's
that
just,
if we like look back over the journey, we have come so far, most you and I especially, in this realm of self-care and what that looks like. And if I may, we've recently had some conversations, um, both of us kind of working and walking our own journey, but sharing a lot of what that looks like with each other. And I'm curious to know, like, if you're listening to this, drop it in the comments or reach out to us and let us know, like, some of the things that you've been working on, to continue to grow your own professional wellness, mental wellness. But recently, one of the conversations that we had was kind of checking in with yourself on a more regular basis. And it's funny because we're both working with two very different types of providers, but both of them leading back to a very similar situation. Like, what is happening within your body? What is happening within yourself? How do you really feel right now?
and that's a question maybe as you're listening to this, I am going to ask myself in this moment, how do I feel? And it's interesting because I'm happy to be here. I love when we come together to have these conversations and to work on. This is a form of self care for me. I think you would probably agree. Mindful moments for us is a form of self care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and in this moment, there's also like a couple of different levels of feelings, right? Excitement to be here. I'm also thinking about what I need to do when we're done, right? It's the evening time. There's chores to be done, like, what I need to do with the dogs, so on and so forth. And just some other little things. But if I place my hand on my heart and I really think about where I'm at, I can bring the feeling that I want to the forefront. So, yes, I have the to-do list of uneasy feelings. Oh, I gotta go, gotta go. Maybe feeling a little pressured, a little rushed, of my own doing, by the way. But I can make that choice to bring the excitement of this time for us together to the forefront. So that's what I'm feeling the most of. And I would encourage you, if you're listening, to ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? And ask yourself that through the day, because we're very busy, Crystal, asking other people,
Hmm.
how are they? What do they need? What can we do? How can we support? How can we be of service? We deserve that ourselves.
I think ironically too, like if you take the time to slow down, or at least this is something that I found with myself, sometimes it's just very small things. Like instead of working on this big second cup of coffee that I have sitting next to me at 5:40 at night, maybe it's listening to the fact that I could really use some more water in my body. And the difference in the way that that makes me feel when I choose to drink water instead of coffee.
Well, I'm just going to remind you that coffee requires a significant amount of water to be produced. So
You sound like my husband.
it's actually one of the main ingredients. So kudos.
That still counts.
But you're right. I mean, and going back to the physical wellness, I can do that with food, and I do frequently. I don't eat all day, or I eat little bits and pieces on the go, or heaven forbid, while I'm driving in my car, which I don't like doing that. I do it more often than I want to. Um, and then I come home at night and I'm starving and I just eat the whole night. Like that's a major part of distractions,
Mhm.
and not taking care of myself, and could be a focus. So I like that you bring that up as the small choices. I mean, I can eat an apple in the car just as easy as I can, probably easier than I can eat, potato chips. So, I mean, truthfully, I just talked that out myself. I'm like, that's a big lie. You can still eat your car, and I just don't eat potato chips.
I mean, it'd
But
probably be like a lot cleaner, really, like not
oh,
greasy on the fingers and all the things. But like as I'm picturing that, I'm like, that doesn't sound nearly as good. That's the problem. Retrain your brain, Crystal.
it
Retrain your brain.
is, yes, retraining that's so important and making those small changes instead of, grabbing chips while I'm out. Most places you can buy an apple,
Hmm.
so I feel like it's being aware of those small changes, but it starts by asking me, for me, it starts by asking myself, how do I feel? And or another question I love to use is, what do I need right now? I love that question because 99% of the time something bubbles up, and it could look like, I need recognition. Because I think that on some level, if you're serving this space, yes, we have a servant's heart, and we serve from a place of truly wanting to help. But I'll be honest with you, Crystal, I love a good pat on the back. A job well done.
No, I
And
agree. I think most humans do. You can say that you don't all you want to, but the truth is we all enjoy a little bit of, hey, you're doing a good job.
yes, and in my case, a lot of it. Sometimes I really need a lot. I need all of it, and I'm just putting myself out there. And being honest is, I actually, for me personally, I thrive on, hey, you did a good job. So what I'm learning though is that I can give myself that recognition.
So good.
Turning it in and telling myself, Anna, honey, you're really doing a great job. And it brings tears to my eyes because I don't want to be dependent on outside. It happens, right? We're dependent on what our people think around us, and that's to a certain extent. But I don't want it to all have to come from outside uh, resources. I want to be able to generate it myself.
I think there's something really important to be noticed in that statement and like how many of us are searching for outside recognition and not realizing that it can be something we can do within ourselves, recognizing and reminding ourselves like, hey, you are doing a good job today. Like you did, the things that you set out to do, or just giving yourself grace with like, yeah, maybe you didn't get this task done, but you did these other tasks, and that's incredible, just reminding ourselves of those little wins.
And there's too something even deeper. And we share a faith.
Hmm.
We share a faith, and we believe in God. And I know that colors my world. So, and that said, I suppose even if you didn't have a faith in a higher power or in God, we're still worthy no matter what we do. We're still worthy whether we hit our KPIs or get an ROI and all that other stuff. We're still worthy. My worthiness is not dependent on my performance. It's dependent on, I mean, really, ultimately, I could say it's dependent on God, right? Like I'm worthy because of that relationship that I have with Him. But even aside from that, what makes me really feel worthiness is having conversations with people I care about. My worth comes from so much more than the task list that I accomplish or don't accomplish.
Hmm.
It's an inherent value, that we're born with. When a baby is born, that's the most, and you're holding that baby, that's the most, you'll protect it. That's the most precious thing. It doesn't matter if it's your baby or somebody else's.
Right. You're not like, oh, you didn't cry the way that I wanted you to. You're trash.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
we don't do that. We protect it from outside influences.
Yes.
We make sure that it's safe. We give it what it needs. Somewhere along the way, I believe and probably a lot of people stop protecting ourselves the way that we should be protected. And as adults, we may have parents, but it's now our job to treat ourselves like you would a baby is considered, in my opinion, like holy. Like it's the most sweet, holy experience that there is. And I forgot that along the way. I just started treating myself like bullying myself and being mean with the conversations that I have with myself.
it's fascinating too because we'll say things to ourselves and it's like I would never talk like that to somebody I care about. Like, why am I saying those things about myself? Like, don't talk about my friend like that, you know?
Yes, yes. And that's kind of a big deal. And one of the ways that I've implemented to kind of counteract that is to be dramatically in love with myself, like over the top, because that's what it takes for me to break over the top, full of grace, over the top, kind, like ridiculously so. Like I can do no wrong. Because in my mind, I judge myself for everything.
Hmm.
So I'm dramatic when it comes to self judgment. I judge myself like left, right, front, and center. So why shouldn't I do that with love, grace, kindness, compassion, sympathy for myself, toward myself? It's a practice, and I definitely don't get it right half the time. But when I do practice it, I bring that sense of holiness back to myself, being just a holy experience on this planet.
I think that's where it comes in, like, to play too, like making sure that your community, your network of people are also people that, can help when, like, although we want you to be able to do it on your own, like this is a learning practice and it's a learning process. And so having somebody that you can reach out to and that they can say like, hey, don't talk about my friend like that when you're saying
Yes.
things about yourself. It does help. Like, I mean, the conversations that you and I have drastically helped me over the years now. With it's crazy, but just with self-improvement. And it's really been such a beautiful process, but I don't believe that I would be in a space to recognize it without having these regular conversations on like, it is possible. It is possible for this once lousy, no good junkie, and excuse the language, but that's how I felt about myself.
Yeah.
To be somebody that shows up with grace and love and compassion and deserves to be happy. And that is a wild thought process. Like to go from somebody who feels like you are so less than deserving and then to try to work towards recognizing like you're worthy to be here. Do you deserve to be able to have the same oxygen space that these other humans do?
That nuts? It's almost literally nuts that we have to say those things out loud to ourselves. But I know what you're talking about. And I too feel when we have, conversations we're lucky to be not just work on mindful moments and be colleagues, but I consider ourselves to be very dear friends at this point. And when we talk to each other, even if it's almost completely unrelated in our conversations, we're both growing from them. And I think that's cool. And you brought up this thing about your community, and we all have communities, whether it's through church, our recovery communities, our communities at work, um, and those are all important. But finding that person, whether it's a therapist, a life coach, a peer recovery support specialist, that you can really talk about the raw stuff. And I'm fortunate to have that relationship with you and with one other person, definitely, and maybe kind of sort of with another one. It's not, actually, yeah, like 3 or 4 people that I can have that conversation with. And that's the game changing conversation
Mhm.
where we can be real.
It's funny because I can remember being little and my mom and dad telling me, like, if you can count your friends on one hand, you're lucky. Consider yourself blessed. And I never understood even remotely. And I feel like as I get older, like even when I thought I understood it in my like early 30s, and I'm not going to age myself more than that, but the older I get, the more I truly, truly understand the meaning behind that. And I agree. I think that, if you can find a couple people that are your people, I mean, then
Yes.
you're so blessed and so lucky. And if you don't have those people, come join Mindful Moments every other Thursday at 8:30 a.m. with us. If you're in the behavioral health field, we would love to connect with you. And if not, then we'll do what we can to help connect you with some other community resources and get you plugged in.
Yes, and that's a wonderful way to wrap this up, I think, Crystal. Again, it's just always such a pleasure. And I think I would also throw out there for a lot of us, we have a local organization. It's called NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, that deals with all kinds of mental health. It gives us many opportunities to grow. And that's both for the professional and the layperson who is not working in the behavioral health space, but feels like they need some support. So check that out. I think it's NAMI.org, and you can join a group virtually anywhere, or you can find one locally and join it yourself. But I do believe that we do meet this week for Mindful Moments, right?
We
So
do. Yes.
super excited. Reach out to us if you want the link to join. And right now we're just coming together like this a couple of times every once in a while, but so many more developments are coming. And just again, I'm so happy to work with you.
I am so happy to work with you too. And I'm so happy for the connections we're making in the community. We're so grateful for all of you that have tuned in to listen. And we're really excited and hope to be able to see you on Thursday.
Peace out. Is that still a thing?
I don't know. It is now.
It is so. Okay.